The college baseball experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up today with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick, plus first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And it is showtime here once again on the college baseball experience. What's going on, everybody? My name is Noah Bieniek, aka 77, and there were some big time news stories on Sunday around the Texas and Texas A&M situation. Sunday morning around 10 a.m. Eastern, it was announced that Texas A&M would be hiring Michael Earley as their head baseball coach, formerly the assistant and the hitting coach for A&M, who's done terrific work in his couple of seasons with the Aggies so far, with that very powerful offense and also patient offense. So, it was, well-deserved over the last couple of years with Texas A&M, but I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to grade this hire a C+. Of course, this was Athletic Director Trev Alberts' first hire for the Aggies, and it seemed rushed, and that's because it was. Now let's talk about it, because I didn't spend the entire week hearing buzz about the Texas A&M head coaching job instead of, how great this Tennessee team was, the national championship Tennessee team. Texas A&M's and Texas kind of overshadowed the celebration for Tennessee, their first ever program national championship over there with baseball. They they won a national championship in a state that Vanderbilt has owned for the last 2 decades. I mean, that team was a loaded team. All anybody wanted to read, watch, listen to last week was Jim Schlossnagle, Texas, and the series events happening at Texas A&M, all to hire a 36-year-old first-time head coach with no head coaching experience. Look, I have nothing against Michael Earley, and obviously he's young with a ton of energy, and that resonated with the players. They were all clamoring for Earley to get the job, but it was a hire focused on the short term. There are reports saying that a lot of the players are planning to remove their names from the transfer portal, which is a big win for Aggieland. Jace LaViolette, Gavin Grahovac, Camarillo, many incoming freshmen and incoming transfers, and all are still expected to play in College Station next year. Hayden Schott, if he gets approved by the NCAA for another additional year of eligibility. Travis Chestnut as well in that same boat. A lot of these guys have already put out public statements that they are planning on attending school in College Station this fall. If everybody follows up on their word and returns to A&M, this will be a top 10 team next season for sure, even with the first-time head coach. Still, the amount of buzz that there was about how much Texas A&M was willing to spend to reel in a big fish, they didn't select many solid targets for their initial interviews, in my opinion, thus causing them to rush and lean in on Early, in my opinion. I mean, just look at the guys that A&M reportedly pursued. Eric Bakich, who's in year number 2 of building Clemson into a power program. He has young kids, and he doesn't want to move them again within twice within 3 years here. And Brian O'Connor, also, who has a son in who's a senior in high school, well-known family man. Plus, he just signed an extension prior to the College World Series. Kind of weird. Tom Walter has said that he's eyeing retirement soon, and he wants to do it at Wake Forest. You go after him. They really lean into Tony Vitello, who just won a national championship with Tennessee. Sure, he may have some family ties to Texas A&M, but Vitello built that Volunteers program from the ashes at the peak of his powers. Why would he want to leave? The dumbest one of all, I mean, Link Jarrett is not leaving Florida State. He grew up in Tallahassee, played for Mike Martin at Florida State, and was handpicked by the Martin family to take over as chief of the Seminoles baseball program. He was not leaving, and they pursued him as well. My thought process when putting together a list of candidates was just that, realistic. I thank you all for tuning into that video, one of our most watched videos over the calendar year. But the Aggies weren't realistically looking for coaching candidates outside of Oklahoma Skip Johnson, who was extended by the Sooners after Oklahoma saw that Texas A&M had some interest in him, and Dan Hefner, who was all over the headlines early on and then kind of vanished. So thus, Michael Earley ends up as the new skipper in College Station. All right. I might be done listing off most of the cons here I had about this hire. On the flip side of this episode, I will go into some detail about the coaching staff that Michael Earley and Texas A&M has hired so far and what the future for the Aggies looks for next season and beyond. This episode of College Baseball Experience is brought to you by the latest episode of SGP Stories, which is out now on Patreon. Sports Gambling Podcast guys do a Forensic Files style deep dive on the Bobby Petrino motorcycle accident that cost him his job at Arkansas. Plus, make sure to check out the WNBA Gambling Podcast, as Terrell and Scott have started out red hot with their locks. The College Baseball Experience is also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up now with the promo code TCE SGPN and claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. Sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th for Circa Millions and or Circa Survivor, and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with footballcontestproxy.com to save you $50 with promo code SGP. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And we are back on the College Baseball Experience, discussing now the coaching staff and the future outlook of Texas A&M baseball. Basically, immediately after the news that Early got the job, it surfaced that Texas baseball's recruiting director and hitting coach under David Pierce, Caleb Longley, was a good friend of Early's, where they overlapped in time at Arizona State. Longley was the first hired assistant of Early's, and Longley will be the recruiting director and hitting coach in College Station. In order to best support a first-year head coach, you need some head coaching experience on the staff, in my opinion. I was doing my own research on Early, and I was starting to shake in my boots a little bit as Kendall Rogers had tweeted out that they were looking for a pitching coach with head coaching experience in Power 5. Michael Earley grew up in the state of Indiana, played college ball for the Hoosiers. He started coaching with Arizona State for 5 years and then was part of Jim Schlossnagle's A&M staff for 3 seasons. Like I said, coaching staff was searching for, the coaching staff was searching for a pitching coach with some head coaching experience. The Indiana and Arizona head coach at those specific times was Tracy Smith, who has a pitching background, and that's my guy. He and Michigan have treated me very well over the last couple of years, and his wife, I've met her multiple times, super kind. Anyways, I personally dodged a bullet as Early and Texas A&M go up to the Pacific Northwest, and they hire away sitting head coach at University of Washington, Jason Kelly. Kelly led the Huskies to an unexpected NCAA tournament appearance in 2023. Then the team took a step back in 2024. Kelly was an assistant coach for Jay Johnson's LSU Tigers in 2022, and he was highly respected there. Now Kelly returns to the SEC to be an assistant coach to his good friend Michael Earley. Also, Will Fox has been promoted from director of video analytics to an assistant coach. All of this is good signs, good support staff around Early for sure. Some familiarity being promoted throughout the coaching staff. Also, Early's being surrounding himself with buddies of his on the staff here. All positives. The only name in the portal that I haven't caught word about is Caden Kent. I'm told Isaac Morton's not going to be back. Jack Bell committed to TCU, and Jet Johnston's headed to Auburn. For the most part, there weren't too many big hits, and if everybody follows their word and returns to A&M, it could be a really, really good season here in College Station in 2025. So yeah, I think A&M will have a great season next year. But a lot of this roster was built alongside Schloss, a big part of it. He was the head coach with 7 or 8 Omaha appearances at the time. I can't do the math whether this year was his 8th or the 9th appearance for Schloss, but I mean, he had a very, very good reputation about him being a winning head coach. Stern, and we're finding that out throughout this entire week from Texas A&M former players. Definitely Stern, but a winning head coach. Cares more about winning than anything else. How will Early be able to operate when he's leading fall scrimmages, practices, winter workouts, and pulling the strings with the pitching staff in the spring? But this hire resembles a shift in mentality of fandom and money dispersion in college athletics. It rewards the win now rather than the build it over the span of 3 or 4 years with a couple of good recruiting classes. A&M already has the rabid, passionate fan base and the good recruiting classes right now. They have a good core of the lineup returning. They need to kind of rebuild the pitching staff a little bit because I assume they're going to lose Ryan Prager. They might have Justin Lampkin here return, who emerged into a College World Series star, but he had struggled in the back half of SEC play. They kind of need a new number one. And definitely, I mean, Shane Sadeo, I don't know how serious that arm injury is, but they need to round out the starting rotation and kind of build that pitching depth in the bullpen for sure. You look at this team, and they, like I said, they already have the rabid, passionate fan base. They're bringing in the number 8 recruiting class this upcoming season, according to Perfect Game. We'll see how that recruiting class survives the MLB draft. Now that they have a head coach named, like I said, there was another reason for the rush with the head coach, because it's an easy decision for a recruit to say, hey, I'm going to go into the farm system and I'm going to go pro rather than go to A&M when I don't even know who's going to be the head coach. So it's a nice thing that they already have this head coach. Michael Earley is already in and ready to go. He's got the familiarity and he's probably already recruited some of these guys specifically, as he's got a really good recruiting background as well. So therefore, Texas A&M should figure out pretty soon here what they have in Early. If he can win with this group, if he can't win with this group, I should fix how I word that. If this season is a little bit of a disappointment, I mean, the team, especially on the hitting side, should not be. I'm not sure if he has the goods if it's not a great 2025 season. I mean, you're not really buying time with this hire. You want to win now. It doesn't make sense to say, hey, we need to give him time, because the main reason why you're bringing in Early is because all these players that you're hoping to bring back onto this roster for 2025 asked for Early, not Hurley, Dan Hurley, Michael Earley, to be the head coach of Texas A&M baseball moving forward. If it's not a winning season, I would consider reconsidering this decision. But if it is a good season, they have a winning record in the SEC and they do well in the NCAA tournament. You don't even need to do well in the NCAA tournament. You just need Early to be able to show progress and some success with this loaded offensive roster. Then if you see signs of success, I would consider this hire a success. Therefore, the growing pains of a brand new head coach, they're flying more under the radar. And I think that's what you need the most. You can't afford some media and also some other teams not taking you as seriously with the brand new head coach. We saw, recently a young hire, but he had previous head coaching experience outside of the Big Ten. Rob Vaughn came in. He had a pitching staff that was loaded, needed to rebuild the offense. It was a solid season, and he was able to bring in some good offensive pieces, and now they're building towards something here. You need to see those signs of success from Michael Earley here in 2025. Let me know what you guys think here down in the comments below about this hire of Michael Earley, now becoming the head coach of Texas A&M baseball, or you can let me know on Twitter /X at NoahB77_. I'll be here on YouTube and podcast platforms all over the board. periodically throughout the offseason, providing transfer portal and coaching carousel updates, as well as any other news along the way. This news actually hit the morning of Sunday when I was up late Saturday night working on MLB mock draft stuff that's going to hopefully be out, Monday night or Tuesday maybe. So anyways, be on the lookout for that. My work over there on sportsgamblingpodcast.com. You can find it under my name, Noah Bieniek, or just click on the college baseball tab as you'll find everything that I've done throughout the season over there. Drop a like and hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. You've been experiencing the better side of college baseball with the College Baseball Experience. Adios, amigos.